Hey guys, welcome back to Hot Thing. We're going to be doing a stuffed flank steak. Hot Thing is a good thing. First we have the main character of this cook, a maybe 2.5 pound flank steak. And these are the ingredients that I'm going to be using to marinate the steak overnight. But before we get to marinating the steak, what we're gonna have to do is dress it up. And one of the things you do is you start to cut off of some of the excess fat, because you just want your presentation to look good, and then some of this stuff may not render as much as you would like it. One of the things I made a mistake of doing is allowing the steak to thaw out too much. You want it to be kind of firm and still cold when you trim it, because it really makes it easy to handle. But at any rate, this is my first time doing it, and as you can see here, I'm taking my smaller knife and starting a little cut just to start a little pocket. And it's not as easy as it looks, man. Some of these guys on the videos make it look very easy, but I'm glad I took on the challenge to try to do it. Again, I'm coming back from the other end and just trying to get it started. And once you get it started, it's not as hard, but the issue of getting it started, just getting out the gate, is the challenge. So just take your time, make sure you be safe, because some of these knives that we use are very sharp. And as you can see here, now I'm starting to get me that opening that I want. And once you get that opening, you'll find out that it starts to flow much quicker. So what I'm going to do is just speed it up and show you guys how I ultimately ended up butterflying this flank steak, because that's the purpose of butterflying it, is to open it up so we can at least get our ingredients on the inside. So you just want to take your time. I speeded it up, but I'm really taking my time being careful, because you don't want to cut through the wall of the steak, because if you cut through the wall of the steak, what will happen is whatever you stuff it with, it will ooze out, and you can possibly lose a lot of your stuffing. So just take your time, be safe, don't try to impress nobody, just take your time. And as you can see here, I'm doing a little detailing. I'm not messing the steak up by gouging it. I'm actually trying to get that butterfly to open as much as possible. And the reason you do that is because you want to make sure when you roll this thing up that it cooks evenly. Okay? And I'm doing this before I marinate it. This is the end product after butterflying it and opening it up. And as you can see, that's a nice looking piece of meat. I have some mustard that I'm putting in there. I have some lime juice I'm putting in. I have some Worcestershire sauce, some soy sauce, and then I have some garlic and onions, and some salt and pepper, and some brown sugar, of course. And just, squish that around to get it mixed up, and then you put your steak in. And make sure you massage it, and massage those that marinade into the meat, because like I stated before, I'm going to be refrigerating this overnight. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. So you just want to make sure you got good coverage, and I'm letting the air out to make sure that the fluid is actually in direct contact with the meat. Again, I'm just letting any excess air out. It's more or less like manually vacuum sealing the bag, and that just ensures that we're going to have some good penetration with that marinade. Okay, these are our ingredients that we're going to be stuffing it with. We have jalapenos, we have mushrooms, and we have red onions. You can stuff this steak with whatever you want, but what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to cook these down and soften them up a little bit, because I personally don't want to put the hard stuffings inside the meat because I don't believe that it will reduce as much. But and this gives you that opportunity actually to season your stuffing for your steak. So I'm just putting the mushrooms in and whatever seasonings you like, and just like with your stuffings, if you want to put something else inside of it, and to be honest with you, yeah, I'm using that Everglades. I seen my buddy Deer Meat for Dinner. He turned me on to Everglades, so I really like that seasoning. I've seen people stuff it with different things, and to be honest with you guys, I forgot to put in my baby spinach. So after you cook your mushrooms or your stuffings, and I'm just going through this process just to show you how I did it. You can do it whichever way pleases you. And then I'm going to cook my onions. Those mushrooms, man, I wish you guys could smell this. I know we say that all the time, but anybody that spent time in the kitchen and you've dabbled in putting seasons and having some steam come up off of your pans, you know that smell is so rich and so delicious. So now I'm putting in the red onions. Some people don't like onions, so again, whatever floats your boat when it comes to the stuffing. But I love a little bit of jalapenos, a little bit of fire in my meats. So I'm using the jalapenos in there, and I'm just gonna cook these and allow these to just steam up a little bit. And once they come down, then we're gonna take it off the eye. I'm putting a little bit of this red wine vinegar in there, just to add a little bit of bite on the inside of the meat. So when you're doing this cook here, it was very interesting to find out that with that butterflying method when it comes to the meat. Take your time. This is the heat that I have on here is medium high because I just want to flash these the stuffing for the steak. And then also, guys, thanks a lot for checking out the videos. Those onions and those jalapenos, they smell so delicious. So now we're getting ready to stuff it, and right there I'm showing you that I have some saran wrap on the counter. So I laid the meat on the counter, and this is after the next day after marinating overnight. And this is cream cheese. What you want to do with the cream cheese, you want to soften your cream cheese up so you can spread it. And these are the mushrooms that I'm putting in there. And then also I have the onions and the jalapenos. And again, I just totally forgot my spinach. And then I'm putting some pepper jack cheese. Pepper jack cheese got a little jalapenos in there. And then I'm going to attempt to roll this thing up. And this is my first time doing this, guys. And I think I did pretty well. And again, remember, I have saran wrap on my countertop. You guys will see in a few moments where the saran wraps. This is where you have to tie it, get you some baker string, and this was my first time again, but I did a fairly decent job, I believe, of tying it. And you can see right there where some of that cheese is starting to ooze out. That was actually one area where I actually went through, but no love lost. I just think that it's a beautiful thing, man, to be able to spend time not only in the kitchen, man, cooking, but also just to spend time outside, on the grill. So you want to tie it up all the way down, and I started at each end The reason I started at each end is because I didn't want the inside stuffings to ooze out the ends. So it would probably be best if you tie both ends first. And this will really help it maintain its uniform shape throughout the cook, and then also when it comes time to slice it up. So now I do believe I have I think it's one more string to put on this thing, and then I'll show you guys exactly how it looks after. See how I'm squeezing it now and not as much is coming out? That's because I tied that in first, so make sure you do that, because if not, you're gonna have a serious leak on your ends. You guys see that? That's a nice piece of work there, man. That's a nice piece of work. Not really good camera work, but at any rate, you guys can see it. Now we're out on the smoker. I'm smoking this low and slow. I'm doing it right at 225, 250. I have my meat probe, my internal temperature. You can see where I have some gushing out. Yeah, that was after about an hour, and now it's actually done. The internal temperature came up to 130. Now I'm opening up my broiler, and I'm actually searing the steak. Look at that, guys. Hey, guys, thanks a lot for checking the video out. Please feel free to subscribe. Leave any comments down below.